Gimenez, you are recognized, Chairman, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Wong, are you familiar with all the cruise ships that dock here at Port of Miami, home port here?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How many were built in the United States?
From what I can recollect, none of the cruise vessels that are coming here right now.
None of the cruise ships
That's
are.
correct, sir.
Are you familiar with most of the cargo ships that dock here?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How many of those are built in the United States?
From what I can recollect, none, sir.
Mr. Sadler, that's a sad state of affairs, to say the least. What has caused this? Why is it? I'm going to give a little bit of brief history. During World War II, for every aircraft carrier that the Japanese built, we built 6. If we were to get into a conflict with China now, we would be Japan and they would be us, although much worse. How do we get to this? And how do we rectify it? How do we strengthen our shipbuilding capacity here in the United States? Also, another little tidbit, the largest Navy in the world now is the Navy of the PRC.
No, I love this question, and I'll be very cognizant of the limited time that we have on this. Looking forward, we can go and look at the history, but looking forward, the way that we can best address this is focusing on our competitiveness. I mean, we have a legacy fleet in the Jones Act, which has been that way for 100 years. We have to get more competitive in the global marketplace. We have to change and reorganize for the task. Our maritime agencies are scattered about several different departments. We need to organize for task. We need to focus on competitive measures, make it lucrative to be a merchant mariner, make it lucrative to be a shipyard worker, because those are high-paying jobs. We just need more people there. We need to start building more competitively than we have been.
Excuse me. Does the PRC, are they engaged in some unfair practices that give them an advantage?
Absolutely. It's a state-owned enterprises, and so they benefit both from direct and also indirect subsidies. They also take their orders most often, not from an economic perspective, but from a Communist Party's perspective. So they are not a free market entity. And so that allows them to put national assets behind whatever their strategic interests are. If it's buying access into a port, if it's designing ships at a lower cost so that they can elbow in or to take over market share, they'll still do it. Now, there's still a lot of comparative advantages that our allies and that we have in this sector. We just have not taken full advantage of it, and that's probably where the solution lies, where we are today.
Is there legislation needed to to accomplish this?
Absolutely. I think there's probably a family of legislation that can't come soon enough, quite frankly.
Okay, since this is an interesting or a great kind of melding of the 3 committees that I actually serve on. I serve on HASC, Armed Services. I serve on the Select Committee on China, and I obviously serve in Homeland Security. I would love to get all of your perspectives on the legislation that we need in order to keep America safe. I mean, we're talking about port security, but now we're really talking about security of the United States. And it really concerns me that of all the ships that come here, none of them are built in the United States. Probably none of them are either staffed by American sailors. They're probably staffed by foreign sailors. So, final question on the licensing, Mr. Fowler, which you talked about. Are the licensing requirements different for U.S. sailors versus maritime personnel versus maritime personnel from around the world?
Thank you for your question, and certainly there are differences. And so for us, some of the challenges that we face in applying for those licenses today, to give you some perspective, we've got at Crowley 100 jobs today that if we could work through a more efficient licensing process could be immediately filled. Over 100 jobs that are waiting to be filled that mariner licensing could, if we could expedite that process, would resolve. Today,
I need to cut you off because I got one more thing
Sure.
that I want to follow. I only got 30 seconds. The ships that dock here that don't have American sailors, they have different licensing requirements, but yet we allow them to dock in American ports. is that a disadvantage for American sailors also? I mean, why do we have these licensing requirements for our folks, and yet we allow folks from other countries that aren't licensed the same way to operate on U.S. ports, if, in fact, it's all about safety?
It should be about safety, Congressman, and I would ask that we defer to the Coast Guard to understand the differences and to provide that detail to make sure that safety element is being satisfied.
Fair enough. Thank you, and I yield back.